Formulas usually they apply to, for example, you want to do something and you want that to be like, let's say, automatic. So they will help you do some of the calculations, manipulation of the data. Like for example, you might want to add something, maybe subtract or maybe get an average, use logical formulas like if, like I want to like add based on a certain condition, I might want to like look for something based on a certain criteria. So in that category we have lookup formulas. So there's so many ways you can enter a formula, and the easiest one is just going to the cell where you want to type that formula, and then you type is equals to. Now that or translates to a formula. Now you can type anything, like I can type sum, and you can see we have sum here. So tab, then you start aligning your formula according to how whatever that formula will require. So if you're typing a formula and you want to like escape, like go away, because if I click in another cell, that cell will be highlighted, it will be captured from the in the formula. But if you want just to escape from the formula, just press on escape. It will usually disappear in most of the cases. So that's typing. Now in case maybe you're not actually familiar with whatever formula that you want to type, you can go ahead and click here on the ribbon. You have the formulas tab, you can click on it and then you navigate to get whatever formula that you want to use. Like I want to use the sum, you click on it, it will give you the sum. Again, we still have another way of opening or maybe creating a formula. Let's assume this is not their age. Let's say maybe this is their scores and I want to get the total score. You can just go ahead and just highlight everything, Control Shift down, so it will take you up to this cell here, and then you press on Alt is equals to. That's a shortcut for auto sum. So this will be, when if you click on this formula, you can see they gave you exactly that formula. Again, like we said, you can just look at this bar here. You just look at it. If you just highlight everything, let's just highlight it all the way up to the end. So like you can see here, this is the sum. If you go to our bar here, you can see the sum is 2260. So they are telling you can actually even just click on this one here. It will give you the same thing there. So this is now copying to the clipboard. If you want to go and maybe paste it somewhere like here, you can just Control V, it will go there. Okay, so that's accessing the formula. So you can type, you can decide to use the pop-up here. This is a congregation of all the formulas that you have. And sometimes when someone tells me, hey, I can't find the formula that you used in a certain video, I usually tell them just click on the formulas and go through all of them and see whether you can be able to see that. If it's not there, then you don't have that formula. We have several formulas which we consider them basics, because we have addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So zooming in, you can just use like these two bars. I forgot to tell you. You can use this slider here to either zoom in or zoom out, or you can just press on Control and then use the wheel on your mouse to either zoom in or zoom out. Now while we are at it, let me go to a huge workbook, not workbook, sheet with data like this. So there's several ways you can navigate. That's just a shortcut. So you can navigate either horizontally or vertically, and we saw that we found several of that. If you want to go down the column, you just press on Enter, it takes you all the way down. If you want to go up, you just press on Shift and then you press on Enter, it'll take you up. If for example, I'm sure you can see this. So if I highlight everything here and say Alt is equals to, so this will be the total. Actually this will not make any sense. So let me just type it. So I want to get the sum of everything from this point all the way to this point, and I want this cell to be where the total will be. So this will be is equals to, let's say it's the sum, and highlight everything up to that point. Then I close my formula like that, then hit on Enter. Now when I press on Enter, you see it, the selected cell or the active cell will go one cell down after you hit on enter. In case maybe you want to have that just remain within that same cell, so for example, we are done. Instead of hitting on enter, you can just let me just is equals to sum tab and then highlight your data like that. I'm sure my data is crowded, but I'm sure you can see. So instead of hitting on enter, you can just press on control then enter. So it will do the action, and the selected cell will remain still the same. So you're just going to remain within the same cell. So that's it. In case maybe you want to go across the row, tab, you press on tab. Tab will take you all the way to the left. If you want to go the other direction, the same way, you just press on shift and then tab to go the opposite direction. Okay, I'm sure maybe you are going to get that right alone, but it's good to have that. So we were working on the formulas. Let me just go back. So we have addition, we have subtraction, which is still the same. I'm not going to go into that because I'm sure at one point you've worked with them. So one thing that I need to emphasize is we have references. Like for example, I might have this is 1, okay, this should be 1, maybe this is 2, this is 3, and I want to add them. So like we said, that will be alt is equals to, it will give you the sum. We have now the references, the cell references. In case maybe there's something that is inside here, I want to add whatever will be here, I can just say this cell, which is now A2, you just say is equals to sum of, now you highlight the cell instead. Okay, I don't know why my Excel is just, it's on a rough patch, or it's me. Maybe I'm the one who's supposed to get some sleep. Is equals to sum. Then the first one will be this one. So hit on tab, then you highlight the cell. So this is a cell reference, meaning that in case maybe anything changes within that cell, it will affect whatever the outcome we have in this cell. So the same thing, that will be some of that. Then you put a comma, this other one here, you put a comma, this other one here, then you close because now we are done. Enter. So that will be that. In case maybe you don't want to just pick one cell at a time, you can just highlight everything, so it is equals to sum, and then you highlight the range all the way up to that point, then you close it, you hit on enter, it will give you the same thing. So that's a cell reference. In case maybe here I want to change something and put it like 23, you see it will reflect here because now we have that cell being referenced. Okay, so we might have that, and then let me show you something else. Okay, this should be 1, say this is 4, 5, say this is 6. Let's pick a pattern and let's create a table like that one. Now using the handle, you can be able to replicate the same thing. Now we already have this. This cell has a formula, this one does not have. So in case maybe I want to replicate that all the way down, you can just use this handle here, highlight, and if you drag it down, it will replicate all the way down. So if you add everything here, it will give you 24 the same way. But there's something else. In case maybe you have something fixed, like for example, I want to have something multiplied by a certain number, like I want, this is let's say it will be 50%, so this will be 1.5. So I want to multiply everything by 1.5. I can just get rid of this. I want to multiply everything here by 1.5, and I want my answers, or whatever the product will be, to be in this column here. So the only thing that you need to do is you just pick this cell reference, you see it will be is equals to, now this one you multiply by, now multiplication is by an asterisk, you just use an asterisk, and then you highlight that cell there, then you hit on enter, it will give you 4.5. So that's 1.5 multiplied by 3. I want the same thing to happen. I want to multiply everything in this column with this with this 1.5. So the first one was 5. This is 4.5. If I drag all the way down like that, you see I'm getting errors. So this is 0, 0, 0, 0. This is because we have not fixed the cell which is not moving. We have this cell. This was totally okay because you can see now the reference is exactly that. Now you go to the other one here. It's now going to F3, which is this, and there is nothing. So it's multiplying 6 by nothing. So for that to, if you want to force your formula to use just only one cell, what you need to do is to fix that one cell within that formula. So I go back to my formula, and F2 is not moving. The only thing that's moving is now this column C. So I fix this one by putting a $sign in front of everything. So the shortcut for that will be F4. You just press on F4 and you can see you have the $sign in front of F. That's now the column and the row. So this is not going to move at all. So you hit on enter and you drag the formula all the way down, and you can see now we have everything now working. This is because you can see even if you go to this cell here, you can see the cell remain the same because we have fixed everything. So the cell will just remain that. So this is where most of the people usually make mistakes, and especially when you're working with VLOOKUP, usually you need to like fix something. So maybe you name your table before doing this. So if the cell is not moving, make sure you fix it. If they're not moving, like for example, let's say we have several 1.5s all the way down like that, then you don't need to fix that. The only thing that you need to do, just remove this. You just click on that. Now hit on enter. If I so happen to double click, it will be very accurate. And if you go to the cell down here, you can see everything is changing because now it's taking this cell, multiplying by this, and then taking that all the way down. Now, so that's fixing the formula. So sometimes you can find something that you want to spill over. You have a formula, but you don't want to keep repeating the same thing every now and then. Now I want to create a table here. 1, 2, 3. Let's say like I'm going to take this all the way up to 10. I want to create like a, remember in primary school we used to create multiplication table. So this will be 1, say 2 all the way down. I want to create a table full of, okay, this will be, let me go, okay, I can just go all the way up to number 17 there. Now what I want this to be will be 1 multiplied by 1. The product of that will be here. So 1 you multiply by 2 will be here. So instead of typing that all the way, and this is Excel, I don't know whether that is in Office 365. I'm sure it must be there, but people usually complain that this is not working in the office. So what I need to do here just is equals to, you highlight the whole of that column, and then you can see now we have the range of that whole, this is the row. So I highlight the whole that row, and then I multiply that by putting an asterisk, and then I highlight this other one here. When you hit on enter, it will autofill. So it will just detect whatever you wanted to do, and it will fill everything. And if you want to like find out, this is 17, you multiply by 10 will be 170. So it will just multiply everything. So this is a formula spilling over, in case maybe you give that. So also and this, I think we are going to do this when you go to now the formulas in the advanced level. You can tell your formula to just spill over because maybe you have several things that you want to, like I'll give you an example with VLOOKUP. You have VLOOKUP and you're looking for something like maybe the name of that person, but then you want to return everything about them, and you want that to spill over several columns in whatever cells that you want. The only thing that you need to do, you can just put several return arrays, or you can just put a hash. Maybe you're going to see that maybe, and even if not actually today. So those are the easy formulas. So like we said, multiplication is asterisk, division is slash. Put a slash, that will be the multiplication. Don't know whether this is not working. Oh yeah, no, it's not working. So you have addition, And if you want to do the addition, or you want to just work with those the signs, always just start with that. Maybe is equals to, I want this, this is now the cell reference, is equals to, this will tell Excel that you're working with formulas, and I want 1, and I want to add that to 2, and I want to add that to 3, so to give you the products. But this is numbers. You're working with numbers. If you so decide to like change whatever was within that formula, you'll have to go back there to the formula and work, maybe change whatever value that was there. So that's why I prefer working with them with cell references. So you have something like this, you want to go back and edit your formula, something you need to just press on F2, it will take you back to editing that formula. Or you can just go to this formula bar. This is called the formula bar. You can just go back there. Let's say this is the cell, you highlight on it, and then you go to the formula bar there, and then you can type whatever you want to type. So saving the workbook in your computer, you did that, and I showed you how you can be able to like select the type of a file that you want to save. So you just go to this, and by the way, it will give you the order, and if you want to add several tags in that workbook, the title, the subject, or anything, or maybe save a thumbnail so that you can use that maybe to know exactly what that file is composed of. And this is where you just select the file type. So that's about saving, making the basic changes. Those are just the simple things in case maybe you want to edit anything within the cell. One thing you have to note is in case maybe I want to make a change, let's say somewhere here, you just click on that cell, you start typing, it will overwrite everything that was there. And maybe you are planning to like add something, but maybe this was let me just go back, this was maybe 200, you wanted to just only add 200, just add a 0, but you'll have to like type again like 2, okay, num block is just misbehaving here, 200. So that will give you like you typing. But if you just want to append something on that number, you can just highlight it and then go to the bar there, and then you add whatever you want to add. So that's just making the changes. And now we got to now printing the worksheet. Printing is simple. It's the same as when you are using Microsoft Word. So you can just press on Control P, it will take you to the printing option there. Okay, you can just click on File, and then you go to Print. It will just take you here. Or alternatively, you can just go to Quick Access Toolbar, add the print option here, so that you just only need to click on it and then it will take you there. So let's go to the printing. Now if you click on printing, you have so many options here. So the first thing here, you can just select whatever printer that you have. So I don't have any connected to my computer, so you just go and navigate and select whatever printer. And in case maybe you have some more options that are provided by that printer, you can just click on printer options. Others will be advanced options, so you just click on that, and then it will give you so many options here. But because I don't have any, this is just this is AnyDesk, in case maybe I want to print over the AnyDesk. So this is the options that I give. But if I have like a proper printer, it will give you some more options. Now this is something very interesting. In case maybe you want to print something, you are going to print something, and maybe you can see, for example, here, this is the worksheet that you are working on, but it doesn't have the borders or anything. Let's go back and see whether maybe we can just do something about that. Let's try to put the borders, put all of them, we have them. By the way, this is where you put the borders. Click on that, and then you have all the options. You're going to see that later on. So you go to File, you go to Print again. You can see you have all of them, but you can decide to not include them by just going back and then removing no borders. And then you go to Print, click on Print again. You don't have any borders. Sometimes you're printing and you have, let's say, 500 pages in that workbook. So if you click on just print, it will print everything. So this is where you can just select whether you want to just print a certain section of that worksheet. So like this one, you can print the entire workbook, you can print a section, or you can just print the active sheets. So if I click on active sheets, it will take the sheet that you are working with here and print everything. But if I go and select something like a print a selection, then go back, it will only print whatever you have highlighted. Let me highlight something, like something small like that. If I press on Control P to print, you can see only the section which had the selection on will be printed. Let me put the borders back. Borders, yes, Control P. You can see it's only just that selection, just a point. Now, before I even forget, sometimes you might want to like move a table to Excel, and let me show you what happens. Control copy, you move that to Microsoft Word. Let's go to Word. And then I want to print that table. You press on that, then you click on this, it will give you the table, but when you Control V, it will give you just only the numbers. So the best thing, if you are carrying anything from Excel and you want to have the tables, you either right click, you use the destination styles, click on that, it will give you that as a table, or you can just go back, you make sure you have the borders, then Control copy, you go back to your Word document. You can just decide now to Control V, it will come with the table. So maybe you want to you don't want to create another table in Microsoft Word, you just need to either manipulate here, or you just carry the formatting with you and then paste it there. Yeah, so that's, I don't know whether there's something else important. So this is now printing. This is now basically if you want to print on both sides of that paper, you have some printers which will be able to like turn over after printing on that one side, it will turn over the paper itself and then print on the back side. In others, you'll have to like print the upper part, and then it will instruct you how to like now put back the papers back to the tray, and then it will print on now the back side. So basically it will depend on how that machine is, but if you want to print on both sides, these are the options. This is the orientation, which is important in case maybe you want to have more of your data which is more vertical than horizontal. You can just use the portrait. The portrait, we've talked about that, and then we have the size. This is where you select, you have A4, A3, all the way going to several, even the envelopes. So maybe you are printing something of a different size, you can just go ahead and select whatever size that you want. Now the margins, for the margins you can work with them from the workbook itself, or you can just come here and tell your machine how wide or narrow the margins are. The scaling, still the same. Maybe if you are working on a larger paper, you want that to be replicated on the fonts which are on your whatever workbook that you're using. You want that to be scaled according to the paper, you can just go ahead and click on whatever scaling that you want to have. Yeah, so page setup, you have all this. I'm not interested in going to much of that details, because now if you want to print, it will be just straightforward. You highlight, you go to print, or just press on Control P to take you there, then you print. Maybe you want to print a section, you just highlight that section, you go and select what you want to print according to the section, or maybe the whole worksheet, or maybe you just want that particular sheet, you just only want to print that. You can just go ahead and do something about that. Closing the workbook is just as simple as, after you just save first, you saw how to save that, you just click on this option here, you can just close like that. So in case maybe you had changes which you have not saved, it will tell you that you have changes. If you want to save them, you can just click on save or don't save. In case maybe you want to save, you can just select whatever location that you want that saved in. But then if you have clicked on this like that, okay, this was a new one, so I'll have to now locate. If I want to, if it's something like a new workbook, where are you? This one, this is already saved. So if I click on this, or just, okay, we made some changes. You click on this save, and then you click on close the workbook, it will just disappear. I also think I don't need this one at this particular time. So that one is closed. Let me go back and grab it again. Come back. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is now closing the workbook in just. And like I said yesterday, in case maybe you are creating something else, like I want to make the changes, but this is the template. I don't want to mess with whatever I have here. I just only want to make changes here and then create a new document out of this. You'll have to go and click on save as, because if you click on save, whatever changes you have made on this workbook will overwrite the file itself, and you're going to just only have one file. But if you want to have two files, one with the original contents and the new one with the changes, you click on file, you go to save as, and then you just create a new name, because if you give it the same name, it will ask you whether you want to replace that exactly existing worksheet. Yeah, so now we go to now selecting the ranges. We have several ways. You just click on that cell, you drag your mouse, that will select whatever that you're working with. You just select like that. Or maybe you can just, if you don't want to use the mouse, click on whatever cell that you have there, then you press on a shift and the arrow toward the direction of your selection. Now this is down, up, still holding on shift. If I want to go sideways, I can go on the right like that. Then the same way, this is left. Can just do that. You see on your keyboard you have up, down. Yeah, so you use shift and then you start pressing on whatever you want to highlight. Now, like for example, I want to select from this cell going all the way to this direction. So I press on shift and then I start pressing on this right facing arrow, so it will highlight that. Now I might decide now up to this point I want to start now selecting the rows downwards. So if you select like that, it will now start highlighting all the cells. So the same way the columns, you just use the shift and the directional keys. Now I want to highlight the entire worksheet. Control A, everything will be highlighted. Or you just come to this corner here, you have this triangle, click on it, everything will be selected. Now the entire worksheet will be selected. So Control A, or you just come to this corner here, you click on it, everything will be selected. I think that will be that. Now I want to select the row. Now the row is this one. I want to highlight everything all the way up to the end. So what you need to do, just press on shift then space bar. So it will highlight that row all the way up to the end. If you want to select only the column, you just press on Control space bar to highlight the whole of that column. You might want to select several cells. I want to select maybe from this range going all the way to maybe somewhere here. So something you can do, just highlight the first cell. That's our active cell, click on it, then go all the way to where you want to select, maybe up to this point. And then before clicking, you press on shift. Click on it, everything from this cell going all the way to the cell that you started with highlighting will be selected. So you have that. You can just decide to even delete or maybe do something else. Maybe sometimes you might want to select some cells selectively. Like for example, I have some numbers which are maybe smaller. I want to have them removed. I can just highlight them by just clicking and dragging. Now you have them selected there. Now I want to jump all of this and then come to this, select it. Now after selecting the first ones, don't click on anything else, press on Control and don't release that Control. You start clicking on the cells that you want to select. So that will give you a way of selecting more cells irregularly. You can just select as many as you want, and then you can just go ahead and do whatever you want. Like I showed yesterday, like you can type something in one cell and then Control Enter, it will type everything there, but then maybe you might want to delete everything from them. Now what you need to do, the same thing that we said, highlight, start highlighting them like that, then maybe delete, everything will disappear. Control Z, just bring them back. So you just press on Control and you start clicking on the cells that you want to highlight, like that, like that. I have several of them. I can even go ahead and decide to even format them by just maybe putting a different color like that. Maybe I want to select the cells which are empty, I can just go ahead and click on that one, then control, start clicking on them, and then maybe I want to type them in them. I want to type the cells are empty, so control enter, and everything will be replicated across the cells which I've selected. For highlighting everything within that sheet, you can use this corner, you can use control A, or you can use control shift spacebar. It will be the same thing, but the good thing about control shift spacebar, it will only highlight up to the end of that data set. Like you can see, this is the end of our data set here. It's not going to go beyond this point, but if I press on control A, it's actually doing the same thing. But if you click on this corner, it will highlight everything within that worksheet. So that's the difference. If you want to delete everything, now for example, I have this, I have that, I have those, I have, let me select several, I have many of them like that, and I want to delete them, don't press on backspace, because backspace will only delete whatever will be in the active cell. Like for example, you see I have highlighted everything here, but this is the active cell which is here. But the only thing you need to do is just press on delete on your keyboard. Delete. You highlight them, you press on delete. Okay, don't want to even go far. Let's just use this one. I want to create a form out of this. Just highlight them. Or you don't even need to highlight, just press on Control T. Then you look whether the borders are highlighting your table, click on OK, and then I have it here. Then I can just click on this form option here. You can also use this to edit whatever is within your table, but then you'll have to have a table for this pop-up to help you in editing. Like I want to edit something, like you see this is LR rows, this is 36, 123. I can just go ahead and change something here to like 34, and then press on enter. You see it will change that. I can decide to like make a new entry within that table. Click on new. Let me just take this a little bit. Okay, let's go. Let me go somewhere there. So Control T is just for creating a table. I want to have something like at that one. So this was the person that we were able to like edit the data within that table in, but I want to make a new entry. I can just go ahead and do that. Go. Oh, these are cell which is here. Make a new entry. Safety 6. Number, ID, that, and I hit on enter, I get a new. So that's how basically you work within like a table. That's editing, because any other editing you can be able to do that. So because maybe you want to delete or to edit, you can just highlight the cell, then go to this option here, this part of this formula bar, then you start editing from there. Or you can just highlight everything by just clicking on that cell and then you start typing. Will be like that. That will be very easy. Deleting the data and clearing. Redo, editing longer cells, editing formulas. Editing formulas, we've done something about that. Let me go directly to clearing the cells. Now we have several ways, and let me go back here. You want to clear something. There's so many ways you can be able to do that. First, if you want to like eliminate the whole column, let me start with the rows. You can just highlight them, you right click, then you go to clear contents. You click on that, only the contents will be cleared out of that, but the formatting will just remain within them. Maybe I don't want to do that, I want to remove them, to just delete them. So you can just press on Control minus, it will remove everything. Control Z, so Control minus, you just highlight them like that, then Control minus on your keyboard, it will remove them. Or you can just go ahead and press on delete. So delete and clear. You see the delete we are using on your keyboard is the same as clear. If you right click, you can see you have clear cell contents. It's the same as just pressing on delete. It will just remove every content that you have there. and the formatting will just remain. You're just going to have that. The columns, the same way, you can just delete or maybe remove. By just removing, you can just use the shortcut that I've showed you, or you can just right click and then go to delete. So let's say I have these rows. You highlight them like that, and then you right click on this end here, you right click on that, and then you click on delete. So they're just the same way as just removing them. It's just the same as using control minus. Now that we have done about control minus, how about adding some maybe new cells, let's say some new rows? What you need to do, if for example I want to add something here, you right click on that. I want to add some rows, so you click on that and then you click on insert. I'm going to have that, so it will insert a new row. Suppose I want to add maybe several. What you need to do, you just highlight several of them like that, and then you right click and then you click on insert. You're going to have all of them inserted. Maybe a shortcut for that, have a very nice shortcut. You can just highlight something like that and then you press on Control Shift plus. Control Shift plus, it will add whatever you have highlighted. This is the row. The column will be the same. You highlight that column, Control Shift plus, it will add a column. Now if you want to remove, the same way like we said, Control minus, you highlight that, Control minus. The same here, Control minus. Okay, so now we inserted, we deleted the contents, we inserted new ones. Undoing and redoing, we have a shortcut for them, and also you can just use them here. If in case you don't have them, you can just insert them the same way we did yesterday, how you can be able to add options on your quick access toolbar. You can just add them there. So in case maybe for example I delete this one here, the Control minus, I can just go to this corner, I just click on it, and then whatever action that I did will be undone. And maybe I decide I want to go back to the action that I did. You just click on this redo, it will take you there. Alternatively, you can just use the shortcuts. You can just press on Control Z, it will take you back. So Control Y, I don't know whether that will work. Yeah, so that will be redo. Control Y will be redo, and then undo will be Control Z. Okay, so for the sharing the workbook, because I'm not signed in into my OneDrive, I think we are going to do that last. This corner here will help you in most of the times filling anything. Maybe you have a pattern, or maybe you have a formula, you want to replicate that down. You can just use this corner here. This is what we are calling a fill handle, and then you're just going to replicate whatever that was there. Also, in case maybe you don't remember that, you can just go to home and then you go to fill, then you have series here, or you can just use fresh fill, or maybe use justify. Now I'm going to go to the series in a few minutes. Now take for example you want to create numbers, so many of them, like 1000. So it will take you forever to like start typing 1, go to 2, go to 3, then maybe highlight, go to our fill handle, drag all the way down. That will take you forever in case maybe you have a lot of them. So that will be kind of time wasting. So what you need to do, just you can use a formula. Most of the time usually do that. So like I can use I is equals to it's a sequence tab, and then I want how many? I want to have like these are the rows. So we have the rows, we have the columns. So I want to have 1000 of them. Then I close my formula, hit on enter. That will take you the way up to 1000. So that's a sequence formula, because they are related to filling, because they are all almost the same. I usually teach them as a group because they mostly do the same thing. Now that's that. In case maybe you want to use the fill, say I want to use a series, what you need to do, go to home, click on fill, and then you go to series, and we have so many other options here. You can use the rows or the columns and the type of series that you want. Maybe you want a linear, a growth, maybe a date, an autofill. An autofill will take whatever pattern that you have there. And when you come to, like, for example, the date, like that, you can select whether that will be a weekday, month, year, and then you can see, for example, if you have selected several, you can be able to, like, detect a trend. You can just click on that and get a trend. But when you come to this point here, for example, I want to have the linear numbers across the columns, and the step value will be like, I want to increase my values by just only 1. I can just only put the stop value where I want my series to stop at, and then enter whatever number that I have there. Then I click on OK. Now let's say, for example, I want to start from number 1. I want to go to all the way to maybe 1,000. So you go that. So you click on that cell. You go to fill. You go to series. I want to have them along down the columns, and I want them to be linear. And the step value is 1. Let's go to 1,000 and then click on OK. You can see it will just give you the same thing, only that this time you're not going to have the formula within the cells, and it will take you all the way down. But suppose this is, let's say, still 1. Suppose you want to have like a step value of 1, let's say 5. Okay, so you go back to fill, series. This will be linear, and I want them along the columns, but this time I want them to be in step values of 10. So I want this to stop at 1,000. So I click on OK. You can see exactly what's happening here. So what 10 was added here, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 all the way. So depending on the first number that you have there. So in case maybe it was a 0, let's see whether a 0 will work. This will be 0. Then you go back to fill, series, columns. I want them to be linear. I want this to be, let's this time use 5 and 1,000. Click on OK. It will add 5 in every instance. So a step value will be this. Now suppose you want to go the negative direction. This will be, now this is the positive direction. You are adding something. Now in case maybe you want to remove that, I can start off from let's say 1. Okay, let's go back. 1,000. Go back to the same, click on fill, series, and that will be across there. By the rows will work the same, but this time they will go across the rows. Now this will be linear, but this time the step value should be a negative number. Just put a minus and click on OK, or stop value. Stop value, I want this to stop at 1. Then click on OK. You see everything is reducing. We started at 100. Okay, it's supposed to be 1,000, but it's still working. So this will be it will remove 1 in every instance. So this 99 all the way, going all the way up to 1. Wherever you have 1, that's where the stop value will be. Yeah, so we have another one called Control E. That's a very, very powerful shortcut. Now suppose, for example, I want to split the names into this will be the first name and the second name. Just ignore everything here. We are going to go to this later on. Now I want to split them. What I need to do, actually, let's add 2 more. So this will be the first one. You have a question? Second one. So now I want to split them. Look at this. Now in case maybe I want to just split this this one here, Ella. The only thing that I need to do is just type that, then go a cell down, or maybe you can just remain within the same cell, then Control E. This is still fill. So it will fill that. It will just look at the left side and then analyze the pattern, and then look at whatever you have typed, and then it is going to replicate that all the way down. Now it went here, looked at whatever I typed, and it noticed that I only typed the first name. So let's go and see whether if I type the second name, it will be able to recognize that. Control E, it will do exactly the same. So this is the same as a text split. I don't know whether I have that formula here is equals to text split. No, I don't have that. I only have the join. So I think I need to add that, or maybe update. That's why maybe I have an update here. I should have that. But in the online now you can split using the formula text split. Just click on it, and then you click whatever you want to split, and then a column, and then I want the delimiter. Delimiter is what is separating them, so it's a space, so I put that in between the quotes, and then I hit on enter. I can now grab this handle, fill all the way down. I will just do that. But then now, instead of using this formula, you can just use whatever you are using here. You just use Control E, which is actually even easier. Again, you can be able to even change the case, either lower, upper, proper case, of which we still have the formulas, which is now if you want to make sure that everything is in lower case, you can just come here and type is equals to lower, and then you highlight whatever you want to have there, then you close your formula, hit on enter. You're going to have error loss like that. The same thing to upper, you just type upper, where are you, upper? Okay, so the same thing. Okay, close. Proper, exactly the same, but you can still use the same formula. Control Shift down, delete. You can use the shortcut now. Now I want to type everything in lowercase, so I can just do that by just typing Ella like that, then Control E. It'll do exactly the same. Uppercase. Okay, let me just type the whole name. Ella. I'll give you everything. Uppercase, you just toggle your caps to Ella. Enter, Control E. It will just do the same. For the proper case, you just capitalize the first one. So that will be Ella. Okay. Ella. Enter, Control E. So Control E is something very powerful, I think. But then you'll have to have like a pattern on your data, and it usually pick whatever is on the left side of the column that you are working on. Okay, so we've worked with the series, the growth, filling the series. Okay, we worked with that, and maybe should I give you something? Maybe I don't know whether you'll find it interesting, but sometimes maybe you have the names here, you have the serial number here. Most of the time you usually put 1 and then enter, then you type the name here. After typing, you go to this other one here, you go to 2. You can decide to like have this be automatic. I'm going to do it here. What you need to do, you're just going to use 2 formulas. The first one will be count A, and the other one will be sequence. Now I want to create a sequence the same way we did sequence, and then that sequence we are going to nest count A. So to just show you, so I want to have like the names here, and then I want to have the number appearing here. Every time I type something and hit on enter, then I should have a number appearing just automatically. So what I need to do, just come here and then type is equals to sequence tab, and then I don't know, let me just make this a little bit longer, because now I'm going to is equals to sequence, and then from this point you just nest another formula. I don't know whether I'm going fast. I'm sure by now we have worked with that. Okay, so I want to nest something else here, so I want to put a formula inside another one, so that as the sequence will now depend with whatever will be the condition that will be within that bracket. So I want to add something else that will be count A, this one there, hit on tab, and then the values. So the values I want all the way up to, maybe this will be the end of whatever we'll be typing, and then I close count A, and then I'm going to close now the external formula, which is the sequence, and then hit on enter. Now you can see I have a number here. Now in case maybe I go here, then type something like John, hit on enter, you can see I have a number just appearing. Let's say Moses again. Let's say, I don't know, I like Kamau John. Enter. You can see we have a number here just appearing. So the only thing that you need to do, you can see this formula, you nest sequence within count A. So yeah, So count A, it counts everything. It's kind of like count everything within that, and then the sequence will use this criteria to decide whether you're going to have a number here. So that's that. So that was just out of the topic a little bit, but I think something interesting actually. I do prefer them because they usually save time instead of doing some of those typing.